It's Sunday, January 29th, 2023. You know, there's a lot of people in this country that are very, very dependent on the system for food. And I do believe we are going to see a time in our lifetime where food is more valuable than gold. I was thinking today, when I started making these videos roughly 5 years ago, the world was a completely different place 5 years ago, yet you saw the dangers, I saw the dangers. I began speaking of the dangers and things I saw in the horizon. Many of you agreed. Many of you commented down below with the dangers that you saw and made forecasts what we would be seeing in years to come, and many of you were very correct. I look back when I started making these videos, silver was around $14 an ounce. Now it's close to 24. Gold was hovering around $12.60 back in 2018. Now around $19.30, $19.40. We're going to see 2,000 an ounce here very, very soon. So much has changed over the last 5 years. We witnessed a global economic shutdown. We've seen hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of small businesses shuttered forever and never coming back. You look back what a price of gasoline was. I think the national average was about $2.72 a gallon. Right now, $3.51 a gallon, and it's going to get much, much higher. But look at how much gasoline costs last year. It was incredible. I mean, I was paying over $7 a gallon for super unleaded. I was paying between $5 and $6 a gallon for regular out here in some parts of California. New car prices have gone from $37,000 5 years ago to around $50,000 today. And as I make this video today, more fighter jets flying over my house. About twice a day now, fighter jets are flying over my house. And it's a very eerie, ominous feeling as you would see them every once in a while flying in and out of Palm Springs down to San Diego, but now it's becoming routine. So are they gearing up for something? Is there a war coming? Are we already in a war? I would say we already are, but it's very rare when daily, 2 times a day, fighter jets are flying over my house. Home prices, look at what home prices have done over the last 5 years. Look at the national debt. 5 years ago, I think it was roughly around $22 trillion. Now, national debt, $31.4 trillion and climbing. And we can go back 5 years ago and look at inflation compared to inflation that we have today. It's off the charts. We look at the household debt today compared to 5 years ago, credit card debt compared to 5 years ago. Absolutely incredible. And yet, 5 years ago, people told you and I not to worry. Nothing bad's going to happen. There will never be a recession. We're now talking about a depression, ladies and gentlemen. Thousands of people every day are getting laid off, losing their jobs. Businesses continue to close. It's a whole different world than it was 5 years ago. And yet 5 years ago, people said, don't worry. This is negative. This is doom and gloom. A year ago, they were saying that. And every year, the debts get bigger. The deficits get bigger. The threats get bigger. Things just continue to spiral out of control. And you must be preparing daily now. This must be a way of life for you if you plan on getting through this. It's going to get much, much worse. But it's shocking just the amount of damage we've seen that we've encountered over 5 years. You can go back even a year ago. But, you know, printing $7 trillion over a 30-month span. Look now at the problems it has caused, the inflation it has caused. They don't know what to do now. Now we're in big trouble. We're going to pay a price here. And anybody that's telling you that this is going to be fixed, that this is transitory, that this is just negative thinking, that things are recovering, stop listening to those people. They're going to get you in big, big trouble. I want to start with an article today on the hedge. It's titled, "It's the Perfect Storm. More Americans can't afford their car payments than during the peak of the financial crisis." We talked about this a couple days ago, but here it is today on the hedge. More evidence that the U.S. consumer is tapping out. The U.S. consumer is in extremely poor condition. The U.S. consumer is broke and now very dependent on credit cards, and they are drowning in debt. And we have not even gotten into the bad times yet. And this is what's really concerning. This is what scares me, is that we have millions upon millions of people who have no way out. They're tapping out right now. And we haven't even gotten into the tough times yet. Americans are using more debt than ever to fund record new car prices. New car loans increased by more than $2,000 in one quarter, from just over $38,000, which was a record, to $40,155, a new record. American Express on Friday reported blowout earnings. The company saw record customer spending on its cards in the final 3 months of the year. Do you want to know why these credit cards are seeing record spending? It's because people are making car payments with their credit cards. They're going to the grocery store with their credit cards. They're making rent payments with their credit cards. This is getting absolutely out of control. Imagine the damage that we're going to incur over the next 12 months. More Americans are falling behind on their car payments more than during the financial crisis. This is a real barometer right here, ladies and gentlemen, of just where we're at. And remember, the auto market is 6 to 12 months ahead of the housing market. And as I said a couple days ago, when people lose their car, how do they go to work? How do they take the kids to school? If you can't go to work and make an income, how do you make the rent payment? How do you make the mortgage payment? Subprime borrowers who are at least 60 days late on their bills rose to 5.67%. It was 5.04% at the peak of the financial crisis. This is incredible. The interest on an average interest on a new car sitting at 5.16%. Average interest on a used car, 9.34%. I don't know how people are doing it. I really don't. And this is why nobody has any money saved up. This is why most of America has no cash reserve. Most of America doesn't have $400 saved up. This is why most of America is not prepared for an economic downturn. And this is going to be way more severe than any economic downturn we have ever seen. This is going to be depressionary. I do believe America is about ready to see the second Great Depression right here. Another one from the hedge. Millions to see food stamp payment decrease after February. Federal agency says millions of people who are on SNAP are going to see decreases in payments after February. This is going to be a big problem here now, because when people cannot eat, when they can't feed their kids, this is going to be a problem. The temporary increase to SNAP benefits during the health crisis will end after February 2023. The extra benefits have already ended in 17 states. SNAP cost $119.5 billion in 2022, up from $60.3 billion in 2019. What a difference a few years makes. There's going to be a lot of people in trouble here because food prices are not going to be coming down. They're going to be going up. And these people are going to get a decrease in their benefits. And so, yes, many of these people could probably go out and get a job. I'm aware of that. Some of them can't. But at the end of the day, we're going to have a situation on our hands here, because these people are going to have a lot less money than they did before, while food prices continue to elevate. Zippia.com. This was really interesting. The states with the most people on food stamps also lists states with the least amount of people on food stamps. And I'm not going to go over every state, but this was very interesting. If you get a chance, check it out. New Mexico, 21.49% of New Mexico is on food stamps. California, 11.7%. That's 1 in 9 people in the state of California receiving food stamps. It's incredible to see these numbers. That means right here in California, around 4 million people are receiving food stamps. Almost 27 million Americans right now, as I make this video, are receiving food stamps. That's 12.4% of the US population. Some of the other numbers, some of the other states here. Louisiana, 17.2% of its population on food stamps. Mississippi, 14.9%. Oklahoma, 14.7%. Alabama, 14.7%. Oregon, 14.09%. Rhode Island, 14.01%. Illinois, 14%. Florida, 13%. Texas, 11.7%. Arizona, 11.1%. And it goes on and on and on. Incredible to look at how many people are on government subsidies in this country just to eat. And what happens when prices go up and these subsidies get cut? It's going to be a problem. It really is. And there are a lot of people out there that need help. There's no doubt about it. There's people working that, you know, in some states, minimum wage is $7, $7.25. Price of food still costs the same as it does here. In some states, it might even cost more. So people, even though they're working and getting government subsidies, they're still struggling. And so we're told that the consumer is strong. We're told that the economy is healthy. We're told the consumer is cash deep. We're told that everything's fine. The cheerleaders will be back on tomorrow morning trying to get us to buy a house and invest in this suckers rally on Wall Street. Ladies and gentlemen, the reality of all this is that things are getting much, much worse. And they're worse than most people want to believe. And I think they're worse than we even know. The cost of living has become extremely oppressive, and 57% of Americans cannot afford a $1,000 emergency expense. How do these people eat if they do have an emergency? And we talked about this the other day, but think about this. In the wealthiest, richest nation, supposedly, on planet Earth, the United States, also the biggest debtor nation on planet Earth, 57% of Americans cannot afford a $1,000 emergency. Something doesn't add up here, ladies and gentlemen. When people are this broke, how in the world do we even have a real estate market? How can anybody even buy a car at this point? How are people feeding themselves? How can anybody save money? You know, I hate to be pessimistic here, but this is really scary. And we have not even hit the tough times yet. And these people that are in this situation right now, they have no money saved up, who are paycheck to paycheck, credit card to credit card, what in the world do they do when it really begins to get bad? What do they do as food prices continue to climb? What do they do when they lose a job? What do they do when that emergency hits? The transmission goes out, or a flat tire, or the kid falls down, needs 20 stitches at urgent care. What do they do? CNBC, U.S. unemployment system still plagued by delays 3 years after the health crisis. Here's the next problem. So when somebody loses their job, it could be you, and you need to go get your unemployment, and you fill out your unemployment, and you're waiting, and months go by. How do you eat? Because you have no savings. You don't have $400 saved up. You don't have $1,000 saved up. You don't have a job now. And your unemployment check is missing in action. What do you do if you have to wait 4 weeks, 8 weeks for an unemployment check and you have no money saved up? This is why it's imperative right now that you are preparing. It's imperative right now that you are stacking cash, whether you got to go get a side hustle or 3 side hustles to do it. Because if you lose that main job, what are you going to do? Because you may have to wait a month, you might have to wait 2 months, 3 months to get an unemployment check. And when you get that check, is it even going to buy you anything? Because food prices and services are continuing to go up. So that's why I believe that food at some point is going to be worth more than gold, because we're going to continue to see a food crisis in this nation, a food shortage, and food inflation. So even though there may be food on the shelves, there's going to be a limited amount of people who can afford the food on those shelves. And, if you're on a government subsidy, if you're on SNAP, you're going to be buying less and less food now every month because they're going to decrease your check while food prices go up. You lose a job, you don't have any money coming in, you're going to have to wait for your unemployment check, and who knows when that shows up. So what do you do in the meantime as food prices continue to climb? So it could get very, very bad in this nation. And we know when people get hungry enough, 9 meals away from chaos, ladies and gentlemen, and that is when food becomes more valuable and worth more than gold. Now, me personally, there's a few things I would be doing right now if you have the means. I would be stacking cash. I would be stacking gold. I would be stacking food. And if you have the ability, stack some land. That's what I would be doing. So again, it's food, it's gold, it's cash, it's land, and of course, you better have a way to protect all this. So security is of the utmost importance. If you don't have security, don't even worry about gold or food or land or cash. You need security first, everything after, because if you cannot protect any of these assets, somebody is just going to take them from you. So get your security house in order, have a way to be able to protect your assets, and then make sure you are stockpiling food and water, gold and cash, and if you have the ability, pick up some land. Maybe you can put some animals on it. Maybe you can put a garden on it. Maybe you can farm it. Just some options. This is what I'm doing presently right now. Doesn't mean you should do it. This is not financial advice, but this is what I'm doing. And a lot of people always want ideas. And hopefully here in the near future, we'll talk about some more specific type things we could all be doing. And please comment down below. Give us something to think about here. Give us some ideas, some thoughts on preparations that you're doing right now that maybe I'm not talking about. Give us some of your thoughts on preparations and what you're doing at your house. Comment down below on that. So I'm going to leave it there today. Please like this video. Please, if you want to support this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Share these videos all over the place. I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you took a little time to go out and prepare, add some canned foods to your stockpile, maybe some extra water. Maybe you went out and got in a little bit better shape this weekend, did some training, did some running. Maybe you worked on security. Maybe you just spent quality time with friends and family, which is extremely important. Make sure you have a strong network of family and friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be extremely important. And make sure that people have skill sets that you are friends with, that you bring to the table, that you're going to allow into your house. Make sure they're bringing something. Make sure they know how to do something, that they have a skill set, that they're quality people, that they do bring something to the table, that they are an asset, that they're not going to drain you of food and water, but that they're actually going to be an asset to you, a benefit to you, that they're bringing something, whether it's a medical background, a mechanical background, a security background, a farming background. People that know how to do things are going to be so valuable. There's a lot of people, you know these people, I know these people, they have really, unfortunately, no value whatsoever. They don't know how to do anything. They can barely operate a microwave. These people are going to tear you down. They're going to be detrimental, negative to you in the worst of times. They're going to want to eat your food, drink your water, and have you protect them. These people right now are the people that are not coming in through the front door, ladies and gentlemen. They've been warned. They're not doing anything. They're ignoring the warning. They're ignoring reality. They want to live in their own world, watch Netflix, do their own thing. But these people will come to your door. I would not let them in. They bring no skill set. They bring no qualities. They bring no assets. They're gonna really be a hindrance to you and quite possibly a threat to you. So be careful of that. Be very careful who you're spending time with now, who's in your circle. This is the time to start weeding out the negative, bad energy. It's time to start weeding out people who just aren't on the same page as you and I. Start weeding out the people who are just going to drain you of money and assets and food. Get rid of these people right now. Get them out. Start bringing in good quality people. Surround yourself with good quality people, and you're going to have much better success. I'm going to leave it there today. God bless all of you. Keep preparing, stay on course. I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon. Comment down below. Let me know how you're preparing, what your thoughts are, and what's your timeline? Really quick, what's your timeline where somebody asked me this yesterday, when do you really see things falling apart? Yes, they've been falling apart for years, but when do we see an acceleration to where we know it's game on, we're in this now, there's no turning back, it's about to get really, really bad. When, is that this year? Is it next year? Is it 10 years from now? Comment down below. When do things really spiral out of control? God bless. Talk to all of you soon.